So when I started keeping bees, 5 years ago only, I mixed my sugar syrup in a half-gallon mason jar. I would take my mason jars into the kitchen, bag of sugar, fill the mason jar with sugar, fill it with water, shake it up, then I go feed my bees with those. Well, that got old after I got 60 colonies or so, and so then I graduated to a 2.5 gallon pail. And then I was mixing sugar in a 5 gallon pail with a paint mixer on a drill. That was sure a step up. But again, I did that for a couple seasons, and that got old. So then I built a 45-gallon drum with a sump pump. Sewage pump, actually, it's a little more robust than a sump pump. It takes a lot of power to mix my syrup. And so that mixed, I think it would mix 9 bags. And I'm talking bags, that's a 20-kilogram bag. 9 bags of sugar at a time. I just couldn't keep up with that. I was running 100, 110, 120 colonies. It was taking me forever to mix up my syrup. Last season, I actually bought a syrup from the bee supply in the city. So it's about an hour drive away. So I took my tote in there and filled it up with syrup and drove home and filled my pails. Man, that was convenient. You know, it's a little more money than just mixing sugar, though. It cost me 20-25 cents a liter, more than just buying sugar. Recently, you know, listening to different experts and whatnot, I've really wanted to get back to the sugar mixing deal, and so I did. And I've set up a sugar mixing system with my 1,000-liter tote. So I've got a little 2-inch pump here. Not little. This thing really pumps. This is 6.5 horsepower. So we just connect it here to the tote that sucks the syrup out of there into the pump and then out of the pump. And as far as mixing goes, then we just go. I'm going backwards here. It's hard to point to things. I feel like a weatherman or something. So then that goes up into the tote, and what you can't see is the pipe goes down, and then there's an elbow that kind of shoots it back into the tank and gets a swirling motion going in there. It doesn't work perfectly, but you know, it actually does the job. As I say, I can mix up to 1,000 gallons of. I can mix up to 1,000 liters of syrup, and in 1,000 liters of syrup, there are 88 bags, 20-kilogram bags of sugar in that 1,000 liters. So, 1,000 liters, how far does that take me? Well, each colony will take probably 20 liters. 5 colonies is going to take 100 liters. So 1,000 liters is going to do 50 colonies. Need more than that. I'll probably be feeding 2 of these totes this fall. Each colony take about 20 liters, so 2,000 liters. So that's 166 bags of sugar. And I need to go back for more. I bought 2 skids. I need to go back for more. So anyway, so then to dispense it, this is just a nicety really. I've got a valve here. Can turn this valve on. I'm going to turn it off right now because I'm done dispensing, and that just goes around the other side there to a little dispensing thing. So here's the other side. That's my dispensing end, a little elbow to shoot it down into the pail. It'll fill a 4-liter pail in 4 seconds, a liter a second. A little ball valve just to control it. The big pain in the butt right now is I get all my sugar up here on pallets, lift it up here with my tractor, and then I have to get up there and lift every bag on top of that tote, cut the corner out of it, and then get that to go in a 6-inch hole in the top of that tote. So that's the big pain in the keister with this system. Looking for a solution. I'm thinking maybe some kind of a platform up there. I can huck a bag, some kind of maybe a shallow funnel deal there. I can huck a bag, slice the end out of it, dump it, and it'll just kind of, make its way down. But, you can't have everything, right? I mean, if you had everything, where would you put it? Still have honey to pull, but it's cold and rainy today. I sure hope we're not into 6 weeks of rain like we were this time last year. We need to use every moment of sunshine that we can to get that off. We started extracting already, but I can only extract so much because I haven't pulled it all. Enjoy this little noisy video at the end of this thing running, and have fun. Just a follow-up of earlier on. I was adding brood to these 6-frame nucs. You can't see it from this side. Here you can see that there are 3 colonies here with 2 deeps on top. So I'd say that was a success as far as building the colony strength. You can see that these honey supers are right full of bees. And so that was just a little follow-up I thought I would show you, because I'd made that video earlier about adding the brood to these 6-frame nucs. We're just pulling honey here today. My fume boards on there and here. Just finishing up honey pull. It's been raining so much. I've got my wife over there putting patties and pails on, which is awful helpful. Boy, she's sure a big help. I'm very fortunate to have her in my life. So I just came out of my out yard here, and I'm going to get stung. I didn't bring my veil or anything. I'm just feeding bees. I picked up all of this honey yesterday. It wasn't very warm. It's much warmer today. But I hadn't brought any pails with me. I just had brought my half-ton. So I didn't have really space. I didn't hardly have space to take all the honey. So I brought some pails. My big truck and my trailer. Got some pails in there. And so I'm going to try and get pails on these. I think the ones that do have pails are pretty well empty, so I'll have to replace those. And hopefully I don't get stung too bad out here not bringing any PPE. So let that be a lesson to you. People ask about these pails. It's a 12-liter pail. It's got a nice gasketed lid, so it's a good air seal. And a stainless steel screen embedded in the center here. And you just invert that on the hive, and the vacuum is formed in the pail. Atmospheric pressure keeps the syrup from just pouring out, and it just forms a layer of syrup on the bottom of that screen, and the bees come up and drink it down, and it's very efficient. Well, that didn't go very well. They didn't appreciate my presence at all. Thankfully, I found a veil in my truck. I had a veil in here from earlier. Oh, there's another one. Oh, I just got stung about 40 times. Wasn't so bad, except I had to take pails off of some hives and replace them, and that's when they got cranky with me. Just pulling the feed plug and adding a pail, that was nothing. I could do that in my birthday suit, but of course, you know, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, short sleeves, and lots of skin showing to give me what for. There's another one sticking in my arm. Okay, well, I'll pack up and go home. Got the trailer loaded up and we'll get out of here. Leave these cranky bees. It is the season though, you know, September. You gotta dress up, they're getting cranky. You'd think 5 years I'd know. Oh well. I'll sign off today by saying, have fun and don't get stung. It's no fun. That's no fun. What are you gonna do? Beekeeper's life. I offset them about as far as the end bar. You don't want them too far. If it rains, you don't want water getting into the comb. This protects it pretty good. And I've taken my migratory cover, put the feed plug in from the bottom, and just set that on here so the bees can easily get in right through there. So it works really well. You get the odd yellow jacket. Had a lot of bald-faced hornets this year. There's another yellow jacket here. Yeah, I smash them when I can, but they don't usually cause too much of a big deal for my colonies that I've ever noticed. This one I've got pushed a little bit too far. These three I just brought. The rest have been here a day, but these three I just brought out of the honey house, so they're going to be real popular with the bees and the yellow jackets. So what I'm doing here today is I have all these pails on the pallets here, and I need to swap off all these pails. I've had September turn on me, and then you can't feed. They won't take it, and then they end up not taking enough. Here's a little story. This double, I've got a double here, which is weird for me. I don't run doubles. So what this is this is an attempt to take care of the last few frames of brood that I ended up with. I ended up with too much brood. I couldn't get rid of it all. So this is kind of a double, and I'll have to take that down, and I'll just store those frames for spring feed. So that should be all emerged today, so I should probably take that apart today. So anyway, we've got these 12-liter pails here with the screens. They're already full, so the bees are all over them. And I just need to take off the empties and tip up the full ones. There's a lot of walking involved in that job. Not a hard job really, but just a lot of walking. I'm just feeding these little nucs here that I made. These are 6s that I made this year with some queens that I raised. They sure look nice. You take a pail off and you see that. Look at, she's dragging a drone out. You gotta go, buddy, you gotta go. No more food for you. And look at those bees. They just look so healthy. Oh, get the pails on. That's the last 3, I think, for this yard. On to the next. And we're at the out yard. This is the yard where I just got pounded the other day for not bringing any PPE. Now, today I'm still in shorts, my bee jacket and gloves, but I mean, no gloves right now, right? And you know, they have lots of opportunity to beat me up, bite my ankles and sting my ankles and whatever, but they seem to be a little bit better behaved. So for the most part, I've just removed all the pails, put the empties in the truck, and I like to wait a few minutes, and the bees kind of clear the top to go down the hole a bit, and then I can put the new pail back on. Distributed all the new pails there. That one in the middle, I was kind of surprised. All of the pails were empty here, except for that one. Sometimes the feed screen gets clogged. The bees will actually propolize it. Maybe that's because of leakage or something. But anyway, so I went to pick it up and I realized, well, that's full still. And none of the others were full, but just that one. And so I soon realized why I didn't take the feed plug out of the lid. So there's a feed plug sitting in there, right, covered with syrup. And so that poor colony didn't get any feed. So I'm sure they're happy with it now. Access to that pail. I'll have to mark that and make sure they get enough. They might have to get a second pail again. Well, they will have to get a second pail because they're only on their first one now. Anyway, that's how it goes. So I'm just taking a quick little breather, and then we'll go along and put these pails up on these hives. See, they're going down the hole. They're starting to clear the tops. This polystyrene, this was an experiment I did, and there are certain downsides to it, and one is that the bees chew the polystyrene around the edges to try to get the syrup. Here we are. We're not getting beat up today. I haven't been stung yet. Well, maybe I should knock on wood. Have fun. It's the warmest day we've had in a while here. What is it, 17C about now? Like a fool, I'm still in shorts in the bee yard. So I've got an issue here to take care of. Not really an issue. It was a good problem to have. I set up this double a month ago because I had too much brood. I, I had all these old queens that I'd hung on to, and they produced brood all summer, and I made splits like crazy. I was distributing brood everywhere, boosting colonies left, right, and center, and I just used it all up, and I still had a number of frames of brood. So I stuck them all in here in this one colony, and there's a queen excluder here. So this is in essence the problem, because I'm going into winter. I'm feeding, so I don't want to be feeding a double here. I winter in singles indoors. So what I got to do right now is I've got to open this up, take these frames out, which are no doubt going to be full of syrup, and then take that. I've got another box here just to put the frames in. It should be pretty much syrup frames, and I'll store that for spring feed. Got a new bee suit, got a new bee jacket. This is not a suit, it's a bee jacket. Went over Dancing Bee, and we got a new distributor in Manitoba, and an awful nice guy, and got in a jacket for me to try on. And it's a 3X. I'm a pretty big guy, and it's still a little snug, but it works. I've been wearing Ultra Breeze jackets till now, and overall I think I prefer Ultra Breeze. Horribly expensive when you import them to Canada. They're made in US, so a little bit more money to begin with. Then you pay duty on the thing. It's crazy money, and I could not for the life of me keep my zippers together on the Ultra Breeze. So I don't know if this is gonna be any better, but I was kind of in a pickle because I just didn't have a jacket that worked. You might have seen me wearing an Ultra Breeze and a separate hat and veil. Well, that's because the zipper wouldn't work on the veil. Let's see what this pail feels like. Pretty heavy. Bees everywhere here. Looks like a nice strong colony. It should be with all the brood I put in it. Okay. Oh man. I'm not looking forward to this. I could get beat up pretty bad. I hate working bees in the fall. You can't really see on the top of the hive, but look at that lid. It's a very strong colony. It's nice to see. So what I need to do is get this queen excluder out, and then I need to take these frames one at a time, shake them off, and put them in the other box. This is just like a heavy honey super. Get my guard bees. They're always the crankiest of the bunch. Take this right off. Hopefully they don't nail me too bad. Oh my God. I got a couple. You're gonna love this too. Alright. Look, about 3 stings there. Really should be wearing pants. Okay. Now, I hope they don't mind this maneuver too much. I need to get these out and shaken off of here. I'm pretty sure they're not going to like this at all. It's very, very strong. I'm essentially taking a lot of feed away from them, so I'm going to have to watch that they end up with enough at the end of fall, enough for winter. Just don't get very many warm days now, and according to the forecast, this is as warm as it's going to get for the foreseeable future. So, gotta do it today, right now. I sure didn't want to. I sat in the house trying to figure out a way to avoid this experience. But the veil is touching my face. That's a good way to get stung in the nose or the chin. I know people say, "Oh, wear a hat," and that's fine. I don't generally wear a hat, so, and I don't like wearing a hat when it's hot outside and I'm wearing a bee jacket for sure. You can wear a hat if you want. Wait till I get stung in the nose. That's the thing about that Ultra Breeze. I'd never been stung through an Ultra Breeze. I think that's largely the mesh. This one uses the same kind of mesh. Mostly, there's some areas on this. There's some areas that have a fabric. I'm not really sure what the idea is there, but battery's running low, so one more frame. And that's it. I'll just have to bang the box down, put that lid on. bees want. Okay, one quick bump. Smoke them. We'll just slide this right on there. Put the pail back on. Done. It's September 19th, 2020. Rather nice day, 24C right now. I'm really behind in my mite testing this year, but better late than never, I suppose. I'm going to check these pails, see what's left in them. This is second round. The nucs could use probably, oh, here we go, weatherman thing again. The nucs could probably use more. They've only had 2 gallons, so I'd refill those. But my priority here right now is do some mite testing. I'm particularly interested in testing some of my OTS queen hives. I did that notching, I think it was the 19th of June, and I got some really good queens. It seems the populations are fantastic, the honey production is excellent, and sounds like it's hunting season. So I'm interested to see what the mite levels are because of the brood break. Some theories say that the mite levels should be pretty low. So I'm really interested to compare that to the other colonies that I have here. I'll get some of the new colonies that were started as nucs this spring, check those, and check some of my overwintered colonies that are on their second year queen. So just compare everything. Usually end up doing a few rounds of oxalic acid vapor in the fall anyway. October is what I usually do for that. I'll get them fed up first and then do the vapor. So it's a beautiful day here to be working on this. And look at this Kubota. He looks a little different today. He looks a bit weird. He's short. I'm doing some mowing with him, so I took the front end loader off. He drives like a little sports car with nothing on the front. So you're looking at the back of the hive here. I'm going to smoke the front, smoke the entrance. It's the guards that are the crankiest ones. So what I've got here is I've got my little easy check. I put methyl hydrate in there, so that's a little easy check. You can wash the bees. I put methyl hydrate in. I haven't bought it in a while, so I don't know what the availability of it is today. I've got a half cup measure. We're told that a half cup is about 300 bees. And I'm going to do it kind of the easy way here. I'm going to scoop off the bottom instead of pulling frames. This pail is quite full. Get this off of here first. There's lots of bees under the pail. Set that here. So I'll tip this forward. Yeah, I can put it there. Polystyrene always gives a little bit of a challenge. Hopefully they don't mind this too much. Boy, they're heavy. So the box sits on the front of the pallet really nice. I'm going to choose these here. I'm sure the queen is marked. So I should see her if she's down this far. Really, she shouldn't be hanging around down here. So that's a half a cup. Dump that in there. Slam the lid. And put this back down. And a really heavy one too. I'd say they're ready for winter. Wow. Nice weight. It's no wonder they haven't finished that pail. Get back to them anyway. All the bees are dead now. And we'll just wash. You may notice I'm wearing pants today. I'm just sweating. Not used to wearing pants. 24 degrees, I probably would have been okay at the shorts, but it's hard to predict. The other way. There's one mite. Now some may say, well, picking bees off the bottom there isn't the best place. You should pick nurse bees off the brood frames. So many brood frames going right now. But you're right. Brood frames are the best place. But in my opinion, if you got mites on your brood bees, your nurse bees, your young bees, that may be where most of your mites are. But you'll still have mites on the rest of your bees. So if I'm choosing a subset of bees that maybe don't have the biggest infestation on them, then I just have to take that into account when I look at the count, the mite count, and I can say, well, if I choose off the bottom and I see one mite, then that might equal choosing brood bees, nurse bees off the brood frames. That might equal 2 mites or 3 or something, Okay. I still only see 1 mite. So I like the look of that. So that's an overwintered colony too. So that's good to see, because that colony, of the subsets of colonies that I have here this year, that colony should be the worst off for mites, because I have overwintered queens, 2019 overwintered queens. I have 2020 nucs, so new starts this year. Those should theoretically have low mites. We're going to count some of those. I have nucs or colonies that were started new this spring. Those should have low mites still, but we'll check those. And what I'm really interested in is the 2020 queen that was an OTS brood break late June, early July. I'm told that they'll have low mite counts because of the brood break. So I'm going to do that now. Look at this one here. That's that double I shook down the other day. They don't have enough space in that box for everybody. If I had a mated queen, I'd make a package out of that. Oh well, that's the way it goes, right? This is my 2020 OTS colony. You think she's doing good? She mated in July. Wonder what would happen if you tested off of the bees on the front here. Let's scoop some of these up. People look at this and they get all upset, and I understand why. I understand. I hope they don't get too upset. It's a sacrificial test. You know, you scoop up a half a cup of bees, and they die right away in the alcohol. But it's the best test for mites. And mites will kill the bees. You know, if you don't find the mites, if you don't test, if you don't treat for the mites, if you don't kill the mites will kill the bees. So, you know, you're saving bees this way, really. In the end, you're being kind. Doing this test, you're being kind to this colony. You're being kind to your whole apiary. Spot checking your apiary is fine. Your numbers should be consistent, or relatively consistent. I test, you know, generally treat anyway. I've never come to a full time and done my tests and said, oh, I'm not going to treat. Let's see. Let's see what's in here. There's nothing. I had one mite in there before. There's no mites now. Well, it's kind of weird. There should be one. It's nice to be out here with the bees again. I haven't been here for a while. The weather's been cool. They've just been feeding. There's nothing to see here. I hear a crunching sound. I think it's these bees chewing at this polystyrene. They're trying to tunnel under the pails to get the feed. So these hives felt pretty heavy. That's good. Or maybe half this one. The colony looks good. I want to make sure they have lots of feed on board. Yeah, that's heavy. That's really heavy. Knock that beard down. So they're good. We're going to do some oxalic acid here anyway, but it's nice to know the mite levels aren't real high. This is a queen, a 2020 queen from a little bit later in the summer. So I would really expect the mites to be low in here. And that pail is pretty much done. The colony looks good from here. This is the back. Give the guard bees something to think about. I just like to get a baseline on these poly hives. So I'll scoop a few bees. That's not quite a half a cup, but we'll go with that. So that's maybe 200 bees. The weight. Feels pretty good. It's not super heavy. Let's actually take a look inside. Population looks good. It's a nice warm day today, so I don't mind doing this on a warm day. Pretty heavy frame. They've got it filled with nectar. I know it's not nectar, it's sugar syrup. But what it's not is it's not completely capped, but it's full. That's full too. See, it's right full. So they're doing well. They've got what they need. And not one brood cell. Not one. These polystyrene boxes are in really rough shape. Not one cell of brood. So these are the bees that we're going into winter with. These are our winter bees. That's our winter cluster. I didn't see the queen, so I hope she's okay. We'll put this back on. There's a little bit of syrup left. Try to give them another one just to make sure they've got plenty. All right, I didn't shake this. There's nothing coming out of here. And I know this thing works, and I know I'm using it correctly. I've been using it for a few years. Last year my mite numbers were quite high this time of year. Zero. Nice. So there's some testing. I like what I saw. I like what I didn't see, and what I didn't see was a ton of mites. I didn't see any mites, except that one. I'll do a little more testing. You know, I hate testing. I just hate doing that test. So admittedly, I don't do it as much as I should, but I have to do it. I have to do it. You got to keep your bees healthy, and keep your bees healthy, you got to sacrifice a few bees, unfortunately. I hope it didn't hurt anybody's feelings. I like the weight that I felt here on the colonies that I lifted. The 10 framers were very heavy. That one 6 framer that I lifted, it was heavy. They have a little ways to go to cap all of that feed. I guess the 10 framers might too, but I didn't take those apart. But these were late. These were later on 6 framers. They were queens that mated late July, early August. And then it was it could have been the second week in August, or maybe the third. No, it would have been the second week in August that these 6 framers were made up with these new queens. So what I did was I used the brood that I had been producing here in the apiary with those old queens. So there was just a ton of brood in this apiary. So I pulled the brood and I boosted all of these new queens. They were in 3 frame mating nucs actually. So they all had 1 or 2 frames of brood. Some of them were doing really great. Some of them a little bit farther behind. And so then I stuck them in the 6 framers with, you know, I don't remember if I put total 6 frames of brood in there, but I might have. I was just trying to get rid of brood. There was brood coming out of the seams here in the apiary. So a real nice problem to have, but something you need to deal with no less. I would say this fall is going well. I'm happy with how this fall is going. The weather has been pretty good. We'll see how much syrup we can get in. We'll keep the barrel full. We'll keep the pails on, especially these little guys. Make sure they have plenty. But other than that, you know, treat. I don't usually treat in October. I'll wait till I'm done feeding. So these little guys, you see the entrances are pretty big. I'm going to reduce those. They need a little bit of protection from the cold, but not so much from the cold, just to help protect them from the other colonies. They're out here with these big full colonies, and they need to be able to protect that entrance. So I'll bring that down to probably, I don't know, an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I have a little wedge that I stick in there, so whatever it is what it is. And yeah, when it gets cold, then the reducers will go in the rest. But I mean, there's so much bearding going on that probably don't need reducers at this point. So reducers, I may have shown you this before, but the reducers I use is just a piece of wood. It's nothing fancy. I cut that out of a plank. A plank is anything that's, you know, a 2-inch, nominal 2-inch. So I cut that on my table saw like that. So that starts life as a 2x4, 2x6, 2x8 something. And I'll cut that with the blade angled. Hold it against my jacket so you can see it better. So see how that's a wedge? You can see that's a wedge there. So what it ends up being, my entrances are 3/4 of an inch tall. Consistently, everything is 3/4 of an inch tall. So how this is cut, hold it so you can see it, is this side is 7/8 tall, and this side is 5/8 tall. So it's 1/8 of an inch short of 3/4 and 1/8 of an inch tall of 3/4. So that goes in the entrance like that. So it just wedges right in that entrance like that. Okay, and just sticks in there, and Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt, apparently. I just learned that, by the way. I didn't know Fanny was your aunt, but I know Bob is your uncle. So anyway, that's a, you know, don't overthink it entrance reducer. I mean, if you have 100 or 150 of them, getting too fancy is kind of a pain. But that's easy to make, it's cheap. I'll cut that actually. I'll cut a whole 8-foot length, and then I just zip that up on my miter saw as I need them. And the small ones I have for the nucs are just, you know, small. I don't know exactly how big they are. So I think my next day working in the apiary is going to be cleaning up. You still see the place is a disaster. I'm not very good at cleaning up, but I like it to be clean for winter. I can find things. I come to clear snow out here in the spring when I want to bring the bees out, and I can't have junk laying everywhere. I'll run into it with the snowblower. Not a bee, she's trying to get in the back of my hair here. Except for this one bee who's on a mission to sting me in the face. September 22nd, 2020. I'm just replacing the feed pails on these nucs. I can't even see the screen, the sun is so bright I'm looking right at it. So you can see the nucs behind me here. Got the feed pails. Kubota helping out. It's 27 degrees C out here. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And yeah, not even wickedly windy. A lot of times when we get unseasonably warm weather like this, it's because we have a very strong south wind. And not so today. I think it's a south wind, but it's not wicked. Downside of that big mixing tank, 1,000-liter tote, is it's hard to mix a small batch. You know, if you're mixing anything less than 200-300 liters, that I'm under the impression it doesn't work as well, doesn't mix as well, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I mixed all the sugar I had left, so I've got a few 100 liters there, and I'm sure we'll get it into them before winter. So they seem to be taking feed fairly well. I've noticed something see down there, they're actually building comb up into the feed hole. I've noticed that on quite a few. Well, this is the 3rd gallon, and I don't expect they'll take much more. I've dug into at least one of these, and it was right full of feed. So I think that's going to be it for these. Building comb here. You can see here better. Building comb. Crazy bees, I don't know. They just, they don't follow the rules. I've got a few of these, see? We got 3 there. 6, 9, 10, 11. There's 14 in all here. There's a dozen more behind me. So I'm just dropped by the outyard again here today, just for a moment. These hives really should be fed up enough. They've all taken 2 pails. Actually, some of them I think may have taken 3. I had some down at the end that were on early. But anyway, the reason I'm here today is this one here. This one is only the first pail, because the first round of pails I put on, I forgot to take the feed plug out of the lid on this colony. So on the second round, I discovered that and left the still full pail on that colony. So that's still the first pail for that one in the back. So I hope they don't beat me up too bad. I'm in shorts again, just on my way to the post office. But so I brought my pail here in the big truck, and I'll try to prop the camera up. So if this goes poorly, you'll have a ringside seat. Not very warm today, so if anybody's guess as to what their temperament's going to be. I'll turn this one a bit. These are definitely empty. Okay, they're fairly calm. Well, that went as well as you can expect. It's not really the situation I want to have, though, because now what I've got here is I've got 31 colonies here in this yard, and I have one of them that has feed, and that can cause some robbing issues. The strength is fairly consistent among these colonies, so I kind of think I'm okay that way. I should have brought an entrance reducer for that one colony. That would help them stave off any attempts to take their feed away from them. I don't mind them taking the feed because they're my bees anyway, but they'll kind of fight and might kill the colony in the process. September 24th, 2020. I just put that pail on there yesterday. Guess it's this one here. But these are, the rest of them are empty. So I'm going to collect those today. Thought I'd tip a couple hives here while I'm here. The smoker going. In shorts again, yeah. Got a bee on my case already. Hope that's not an indication of how today is going to go. I'm going to check into this one because I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that have not finished their pail, have not taken much. Well, I think I know the answer. I think the sugar was a bit too thick, and left it on the screen and they were unable to take it. Because the population is excellent here. I'm not going to open this up. Okay. They'll like that a lot more, I'm sure. Okay, is this the same story, I wonder? Good population. I can see granulated sugar on the screen. Likely plugged. We really have to fix this problem. They dug right in the polystyrene under the pail edge. Okay, I'm gonna put this pail right here. I watched a video by a hobbyist recently, and the whole video was about this. He went and touched his entrance reducer and he got stung. Of course, I guess he wasn't dressed up or anything, but you think, well, I'm just going to go pull the entrance reducer, I'm going to put one in. That's easy. They won't mind. No, no, no. Entrance. The entrance is where the guard bees do their job. And their job is to keep you out. So you're gonna mess with that, you better have some smoke, you better be dressed up. Get a nice liberal amount of smoke and give those guard bees something to think about besides stinging me. And then I'm gonna put that wedge in there. You know, I ain't like that, banging on the hive like that, but kind of have to tap those in. And that's the one I put on yesterday, so I know why that's full. I'm a little concerned with this one. This is a 2019 queen. She's a year old. This will be her second winter. And I really see no population here through the feed hole. I'll crack that open. Take a gander. Yeah, they're not going to make it. Hardly anything left of them. Probably a queen die a little while ago. This was a patty that I put on here nearly a month ago. They've eaten most of it, but there's not much left of this colony. I'm wondering if they got beat up on, because there's the remnant of, well, okay, here's our answer right here. Their queen did die because we've got some bullet brood here. We'll get into the rest of the frames, but I'll sort of hold that so you can see it. The bullet-shaped caps, those are drones. So those were laid by laying workers. Okay, hard for me to see what you're seeing. Okay, so that was like that together. So that was the brood nest. There's nothing really to salvage here. There's just a few bees, but they're old. They're going to be dead in another probably couple weeks. There's no brood. There's no feed. You know, there's another frame of drones. They tried to requeen. Here's some open queen cells at the bottom. They're pretty old. Well, there's nothing in here. The other queen cell. This one didn't emerge. Open it up. See what's in there. Anything. Nothing. So that is what went on here. Queen died in the honey flow and they didn't requeen. Which, you know, happens. Because we don't do a lot of management during honey flow. There are a few lost bees there. They don't know what to do. See, that's it. That's all that's in here. Few drones hanging on. So, yeah, they're done ski. I'm gonna shake these bees just out in here. If they can join another colony, fine. If they can't, they're gonna die here anyway. There's no value to me. There's no value to themselves. You can't even shake them out because they're all old bees. They just all fly. My trusted mentors always say, take your losses in the fall. Don't try and winter crop like this. No. But I need to take away anything that looks like home to them, so that they'll find somewhere else to take up if they can. We'll unload this. There is nothing here. There's not a stitch of feed. See, there's more queen cells. And you know, if they tried to queen cells, I mean, they emerged. A lot of them emerged. Looks like that one might have been torn down, but there's one here. Lots of cups. If she emerged, you know, at the beginning of September, good luck trying to mate. You know, that's just not prime mating season here in this part of the world. So bang them out and throw the frames back in that box. Yeah, they've got that ring of propolis around the bottom. They just feel that hole's too big. Here's a close-up of that feed hole. Look at how they've built that. They built it right up and closed it right down. They just wanted that size of a hole in the top, so that's what they made. I want to heft some of these hives. That's all I need to know. That's heavy. Yeah. Nice and heavy. So a little disappointed that I had to leave so many pails, but I have to leave that one anyway, so it doesn't really change things for me. As soon as those pails are done, I'm going to pick these up and take them home. It's the 28th of September 2020. It's a rather cool and breezy day. I'm working here to clean up a bit. I wanted to sort the apiary around a little bit, consolidate things a little bit. I had a lot of pallets with one colony, so I've moved the pallets around. I haven't transferred any yet, but I've placed, you know, if there's 2 pallets with 1 colony each, I just place those pallets real close, and then I'll move those over. I plan to use one of the cool days this week to move my outyard bees home. So that was really the driving force to sort the apiary, because I need a bit more space to fit 15 more pallets in the apiary. And that side of the apiary used to be the last 2 rows of beehives, so I've consolidated everything over here farther over in the apiary. It used to be a big empty space in the middle, so all my little nucs are here, and it looks very much in disarray, and it still kind of is, but you can see where, you know, this colony, for example, it's just placed there, and then that'll get moved up onto this pallet here. This pallet is not even sitting on that stand properly, but so, you know, I've got the same thing going on over here. We've got two pallets here that have 1 colony each, so I'll just move one of those colonies back on the other pallet. That's kind of the method to my madness with this. I get a little bit carried away with the organization of it, but one thing I really need to do is I need to keep the pallets full. I shouldn't have more than 1 pallet with a dead spot, because they have to go into the building, and they have to stack in there, so they don't stack worth a darn if there's 1 colony on a pallet. I mean, you can just stick a lid on the empty box, I suppose, but then you've got a lot of extra pallets for no reason. So it's not a problem. You get the cooler weather, and we can move them around just fine.